Hello everybody and welcome to Mitchell's World. It has been a very long time since I've uploaded a video. It's been a little over a year. Yep. But I'm back and I have just finished this little footstool here. And I'm going to show you how I did it. Okay, so for this project I had a few different boards that were about 3/4 of an inch thick. You can use other boards. I wouldn't really use anything thinner than that. That's just my preference. But anyway, for the top of this board, I cut it 14 inches long, and it was about 11 inches in width. For the legs of the project, they were a length of 11.5 inches, and the width was 9.5. For the middle support, I used a board that was about 3.5 inches in width, and I cut it to 9.5 in length. And that'll change depending on how far you want the legs to be. It's pretty much up to you. So for the pattern of the legs, I hand drew a little pattern on the side of one of the boards, and I cut it out, and then I took that piece that I cut out and used it as a stencil, flipped it over, and used it for the other side. Then once I did that, I used that leg for a stencil for the other board, and it worked out pretty good. There's a little difference, you can hardly tell in each side, but it worked out pretty good. Once that was all finished, I had to do a little bit of filing on the edges before I used the router, because if I didn't do that, it would probably add a little bit of weird bumps to it, and I wanted to make sure that it was quite smooth throughout. So once I routed each side, then I could start sanding. Okay, and before I did the sanding, at least more of the finish sanding, I drew out on the boards where I would want the centerpiece to be, the support piece. And the way I did that is I found the center of the leg boards, and I pretty much just put it in the middle of that. That seemed to be the best way to do it. After I did that, I could finally finish sanding those pieces, and I could start marking where I wanted to put the legs on the actual top board. Then I looked and kind of eyeballed how far I wanted the legs to be from the edge. I decided I'd do about 1.5 inches from the edge for each leg, and once I did that, I marked it out on the top board, put some glue on, and put these legs on top and had them rest. Now the boards are a little warpy, but they still stood on there. And once it dried, I flipped it over and I drilled on the side, or on the top of the top board, and I put some countersinks so I could put the screws fully in, and then those legs would be supported. And once the legs were on, I was able to put the support piece in the middle. Now be careful with this, because I had some difficulty with the screws blowing out part of the support piece. So just make sure, just go real slow, and then hopefully it won't blow out little on the sides, and you'll be good. So now we're going to prepare for putting on stain and then some polyurethane after. And unfortunately I put on the foam first. I should have waited to do that, but oh well, it works out. It worked out in the end. What I did is I put 1 coat of stain, and then I put 2 coats of polyurethane. And after each coat, I use steel wool. And I know usually you'll use 220 grit sandpaper after each coat, but I use steel wool sometimes. That works good too. After all that's said and done, now we just have to put the fabric on the top. Now I've never really done upholstery of any kind, so this was a new thing for me. Once I did that, I pretty much cut the fabric about, just kind of eyeballing it, I didn't want it to cover any part of the leg, and sometimes it seemed like it was going to do that, so I just roughly cut it and then I would trim it after. And once that was all trimmed, I pulled it taut and I started to staple the sides. And once those were done, I got to the part where I had to start folding it over, and I tried a few ways, and a lot of them weren't turning out very well for me. I ended up doing a way that seems similar to wrapping a gift, and that worked pretty well. It didn't cause as many seams on the side, because I was getting a lot of seams. But after that, I just kind of pull the fabric taut and staple it with my little stapler. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like and comment what would you do differently, or if you have any questions on how I did it, let me know. And thank you again so much. It's been so long since I've done this, and I'm really excited to make more videos. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.